Welcome to another episode of NBA Central. I'm joined by my co-host from over on Locked On Bulls, Pat, the designer's in the building. What's going on, Pat?
Hey man, I'm happy to be here, man. Listen, you get to talk about more than just the Bulls, and we get to talk about it how we talk for real. Like, let's go.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think part of it too is why I wanted to specifically do the Western Conference is to get completely away from the Bulls. That's all we talk about is the Bulls all the time. Let's be forced to not talk about the same thing we always talk about, man. But it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining me today, man. So we're going to break down the Western Conference. We're each going to talk about teams that we truly think are contenders for a title in the Western Conference. And we're going to talk about what teams we think are going to finish towards the bottom three in the Western Conference. I'm sure between that, the rest of the 15 teams are going to show up in some type of way. So
we'll see.
We'll see. So, Pat, I'm going to give it to you first, man. What's the first team, the one that you surefire think is a contender in the Western Conference?
I mean, if we're not saying the Golden State Warriors, are we really having a basketball conversation? I mean,
this is fair.
Just locked up Andrew Wiggins, just locked up Jordan Poole. That team's going to be pretty good for a long time to come. Added in a first-round pick to their game in James Wiseman coming back. That and he's a legitimate first-round pick, right? Like he could be a top big man in the NBA this season and develop into a really nice player as long as he's able to stay on the court. And then you're talking about, right, like still having Steph, still having Clay with a year under his belt of, hey, now I'm like back in action, back in playing mode, back in shape, all of that, right? Coming in a training camp. So you got that. And then I know there's a lot of people that look at Draymond Green as the irritant or the piece of this team that just like you can move on from. But championship teams generally have that guy that's very much like a Draymond Green. Gets into it with a lot of people, fiery, grind it out type of guy. And so for me, right, like I think the Golden State Warriors, they have all the makings of a championship team that can go back to back. And I won't doubt them until they finally lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you there. It has to be Golden State number one. Like they just and the Golden State Warriors have gotten to a point in, when everything's rolling for them that they just toy with teams, bro. They literally just toy with teams and like, hey, we're going to let them have 3.5 quarters. And then we got it after that. It's a different level of basketball that they're playing right now. And until somebody knocks them down as they're fully healthy, like it's going to be what it's going to be, man. But it's been good to see the Golden State Warriors have their rise because I really enjoyed them going from the We Believe Warriors to transitioning to the Steph Curry era and everything like that. It was fun to see. And then it got to a point where KD got there and then people started realizing, hey, this is unfair. And then they got knocked down again with all the injuries. So it's been good to see them build themselves back up to the championship contender we always knew they could be.
I'm Golden State's one of those teams, right, that I just look at and I'm like, I hope people really enjoyed the run that we saw them go on because I think people think that that's like the norm when it's not.
It's not.
Like you're talking about 4 players in history that have gone on runs like that. Now, granted, right, there's a bunch of players that are on that team, but when you talk about, right, the faces of that team, you're talking about Curry, Jordan, Kobe, maybe
Kobe.
I mean, yeah, it was a dominant run, but I'm just, I guess so. No, Kobe. If I'm gonna include I guess 5 then, right? Tim Duncan and Bill Russell. Like,
that's just true. That's true.
There's not a lot of players that went on that run. Maybe 6 even. Maybe I'll include Larry Bird in that as well because he did a lot of winning in his time in the NBA. But I mean, like.
Okay.
I'm just talking about like those teams that are just like long-standing teams, and there's so much hate that's thrown towards those teams that you really don't get an opportunity to enjoy. And I know a lot of people listening are going to be like, "But what about LeBron? LeBron did a lot of losing in that time. Most of those guys, when they got to the finals, they won."
The casual way in which you were, they did a lot of losing in that time, but I think too.
Listen, it's no disrespect to him. Like he got the 10 NBA finals, but he lost a lot of them, right? Like,
yeah.
And that's okay. You won some too. Like sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
And that's one of the things is that, like, okay, this again side tangent here. If you had to be honest, we're talking just the game of basketball, not the outside of the basketball things, none of like that. Yeah. Who's been more influential to the change of basketball, Steph Curry or LeBron James?
Steph Curry's been more. See it that's tough, right? Like
It's a tough question, right?
well, here's the thing, right? Steph Curry to me has been more influential to the change of basketball outside of the NBA. What I mean by that is, yeah, there's more people shooting threes, there's more people knocking down threes, right?
Mm.
But how many of them are 6'1"? 6'2", right? Like I think that's the change that Steph made to the NBA. Like Trae Young is able to be on a team, right? You see Darius Garland, you see, right, like those guys that are shooting and they're using it as an asset to how small they are in the NBA, right? Like I think that is the biggest thing that changed with Steph, but there's not a ton of those guys. Right, like you don't have a ton of 6'1" point guards.
But I still, it's not even like the size he can't help. I look at it like I feel like that's almost laying too extra of a layer, because when you look at how often and how far back people shoot threes now and consistently actually adding that as a weapon to their game, regardless of their size, you got to start that with Steph.
But I think that makes it the everyman's game, right? Because that's the advantage that shorter players can have. And then, of course, the bigger players are going to add that to their game and stuff like that. But like guys like LeBron, like, not to say he didn't change the NBA, but
yeah,
it's
absolutely
not,
did.
you can't replicate LeBron. LeBron is
and that's
a freak of nature.
And that's the thing. That's the difference, right?
If a specimen.
Most people feel like, hey, if I put in the time, I can learn to shoot. Like most people, if you put in the time, learn the mechanics, you're quicker to believe I can learn to shoot than I can be this physical specimen of LeBron with this quickness and size, and it has no business of a human being that big and that quick. Like it's just
like that, and that's what I'm saying, right? Like when you think LeBron is a defensive lineman, LeBron James is a defensive lineman. Now he's lost a little more weight, and I don't know what he's down to. What's he down? Is he down to 245, something like that? But like LeBron at his heaviest was 260, 6'8", flying down the court, jumping out the jump. Like he's a specimen. Like you can't recreate that. But what I can recreate is me being a regular 6-foot dude. And guess what? Now, of course, Stephen Curry, greatest of all time. Like you'll never achieve that. Like that is a different level of talent. He's a specimen when it comes to shooting. But like, if I work really hard on shooting 3-pointers for the rest of my life, I'm going to get pretty good at it. Like if I get a shooting coach or if I get if you go through everything, like I could go through all the training in the world, I'll never be able to do anything close to what LeBron James could do. Maybe passing. But like if I get a shooting coach and I practice shooting for the rest of my life and there's somebody that fixes my mechanics and all that, like I can achieve that. And I think that's the change that you see in the lower levels, right? Because if you watch like kids growing up now playing basketball, like they're not sitting here teaching like set up the offense, go through, okay, we got to move the ball around. They teaching, hey, bring that mug up and pull that joint.
Man, we got completely sidetracked there. What's your second team, man, as far as contenders in the Western Conference?
My second team, there's so much that hinges on health. So much, and I mean heavily. But I gotta talk about the Denver Nuggets.
Two-time MVP, you kind of got to, right?
Two-time MVPs on that team. I look at a guy like Michael Carter Williams as a dominant scorer to the point
where
like
back
it
too,
looks
by the way,
effortless. Like it's not like he's not. I want to see what it looks like. When
you know what it is. You know what? No, you know what it is. He scores like a more perimeter-oriented DeMar DeRozan.
Yes,
that is just like
that's how it looks, right? Like
yeah, it just looks effortless.
Like, it don't matter.
Yeah, it don't matter. So it's all academic.
If he's healthy, I'll always listen. We're gonna get a Bulls reference on this mug. I'll always hold on to the fact that we picked the wrong junior.
Oh man.
Hey, bro. Ringo be talking about me. Be like, you was crying. I was like, I wasn't crying. but I was definitely emotionally upset.
Bro, I like every time that comes on, even on Locked On Bulls, like the man wanted to be drafted by the Chicago Bulls. He advertised basically said, "Hey, y'all all worried about my back? Cool. Bulls, y'all got 7, right? Cool. Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna give y'all my medicals and not give it to nobody else."
That's Scarpax's lasting legacy right there.
That's crazy, but that's the thing. No, would that team had at least been offensively talented enough to where they may still be around?
One of the worst defensive teams in the NBA.
Oh, we're talking about giving up 70 points a game just from the wing position.
Bro, I would have been one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA, and that's definitely the most light-skinned team in the league by far. Zach LaVine and
that point is like it's just them and the Warriors. That's
Zach
it.
LaVine and Michael Porter Jr. on that mug, bro. That team is bright. But
except my second team, I'm actually above the Nuggets. I do have them as my number 3. My second is the Grizzlies, bro. I don't know why. I just feel it, bro. I feel it about this team. They're gonna go on a run similar to Derrick Rose when they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, but I trust that they can get it done if you let the Grizzlies make it to the Western Conference Finals with how hungry Ja's going to be with the season I think he's going to have. I think Ja Morant is going to have the MVP and not just a couple of last place votes. I mean, top 2 to 3 in MVP voting type season coming up for Ja Morant. That's what I have cooking up.
I think he's going to have to. I think that's the only way that they even get a top 5 seed in the playoffs, though. Like I don't have them as a contender right now, and not because there's not talented players on that team, but I think you lost a lot of your identity of your team defensively when you lost Slow-Mo, when you lost not Bane, what's my man's that went to was he on Portland now? I can't think of his name. Didn't somebody else leave? Somebody else left Memphis, but also the fact I can't think of it right now, but also the fact that Jaren Jackson Jr. is not slated to be back until almost halfway into the season.
That's a possibility there.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, he's recovering from surgery. He's got to come back. He's got to get himself worked in. Not to say, like, I think he's supposed to be back well before the playoffs. But
stop. Because I swear to God, I'm saying I got to put this on record because the thought came to my mind. If something mess around and happens and Ja gets hurt too, and this team gets the first overall pick and Victor Wembanyama goes there with Jaren Jackson Jr. and Ja Morant, I'm done, bro. That would be crazy.
And here's the wild part, right? This is what I said. I said this over on Locked On NBA. I said, don't be surprised if the first month don't go how some of these teams think, teams that you think are going to be, that we're talking about as finals contenders.
Mm-hmm.
And they just like, okay, I guess we're gonna go get Wembanyama. Like, don't be shocked by that at all. I'm keeping it a Billy Buck Bean. I think if Denver goes through some injuries, like to their major players again, I think you'll see them possibly trying to get into the sweepstakes. Like all of a sudden, you'll just be like, Jokic is having like neck soreness and he's not gonna play anymore. I think the same thing about the Grizzlies. If you lose Ja Morant, you're gonna be, what are you gonna fight for the 8th seed? At that point, like, what are you fighting for? You fighting for a play-in spot, right? So I think there's going to be some top teams that we thought were going to be like major players in the finals, and you could see them trying to get Wembanyama by the end of this.
That's crazy, man. But you said I feel like you sold short the Memphis Grizzlies, who were the number 2 overall seed last season. I mean, well, in the West season last season.
I just think that things fell right for Memphis. And I don't think that they have the luxury for them to fall right again this season, right? Like, I look at this Memphis team right now, and if Anthony Edwards takes another step, they're not better than the team that they beat last season in the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that's just if Anthony Edwards takes a step. I'm not even adding in Rudy Gobert being there with Cat actually getting to be a power forward, shooting the ball instead of trying to be a big man, which we all knew he wasn't for the last 10 years. But I mean, like, you look at the teams in the West around them, and I don't know if Memphis got majorly worse. I think they're just a little injured, but I don't think they got better, and I think there's teams around them that did just by getting healthy.
Okay, fair. So who's your number 3 team?
My number 3 team, I'm going to go surprise on y'all, bro. I'm going to go a real surprise on y'all. Watch out for the New Orleans Pelicans if Zion's healthy, bro. Watch out for the New Orleans Pelicans out here, bro. They got a squad. They have one of the deepest squads in the NBA. Like, legitimately, the Mugs have multiple players at multiple positions that absolutely can get after it. And that's outside of the starting lineup, bro. You got Valanciunas, Larry Nance. I like Alvarado. I'm not as hype on. I think Alvarado's an Instagram star. I don't think I'm as hype on him as everybody else is. But I mean, dog, and then your starting lineup is BI, CJ McCollum, Zion Williamson, Valanciunas, I believe, is in the starting lineup. You got why can't I think of the young dude name? Dang it. Buddy that was jumping out the gym last year. We just played these Mugs. And I can't think of his name right now. I gotta go to the researches.
Here you go.
Now I gotta go to the research. But no, I think the Pelicans have a real chance of really showing out this season. Of course, it all hinges on Zion Williamson being healthy. But I mean, if we being 100% honest, bro, like that's if he's healthy, dude, that's a dude that shoots 60+% from the field. Added to a team that already was a really competitive team.
That's crazy. Hey, that's a nice pick there. I already said my number 3 there is the Nuggets, but the Pelicans very well could get there. Like, if everything comes together for them, that's going to be a dangerous squad. A healthy Zion, we've already seen, can't be stopped at all.
Herb Jones, that's who I was thinking.
Oh yeah, Herb Jones. Herb Jones, yeah, great. Herb Jones.
Somebody that's continuing to move in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still got Jackson Hayes, still got Valanciunas, Devontae Graham, the other Hernan Gomez that's not Bo Cruz. You know what I mean? Like, they got a nice squad, dog. Now, I don't know if they got the coaching, if they got everything in place above that to call the right plays, but, you know, I think that team will be a lot better than most people thought, and a former Chicago Bull Garrett Temple on that team. So shout out to
Chicago Bulls legend. Chicago Bulls legend. All right, now let's flip that. What are the 3 teams do you think has zero chance? They are already in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. They already are waiting outside, like your auntie on Black Friday for that TV. They sitting there waiting already. What teams do you not give any chance to anything significant, brother?
Wait, what was that last part?
What did I say?
I hate to say this, bro. Just start trading pieces in Sacramento, bro. I have no faith that y'all can start winning.
But see, no, that's the thing. The moment Sacramento they settle on they're going to tank, they'll end up making the play-in. It just happened that way. The moment they say no, we are going to tank from now, pull everybody else out, somehow they'll make the play-in. Because they can't get right. Everything they try to do, they do wrong.
And here's the wild part, right? Like, Mike Brown don't do it for me. I feel like the combination of De'Aaron Fox and
Domantas
Sabonis should work. But then, like, I see him, and I'm like, y'all not running enough pick and roll in the slightest. Like, how y'all, like, they both, like, finish both hands at the bucket. Sabonis jam on you. Fox jam on, like, what we doing here, bro? So I'm not sold on Sacramento at all. Let them Mugs let's get that Wembanyama jersey printed up early here, man.
Okay.
And I think I think they got the best chance to get them.
That's fair.
That's tough. That's tough. Never mind.
Literally nothing changed. I hate Restream, bro. I fucking hate Restream, man. Oh.
What just happened?
I haven't, bro. It literally refreshed twice, and I didn't touch a goddamn thing, bro. And it said your connection, you or your guest's connection, and then restarted. I'm like, what the fuck you doing, man?
I'm still in here, so
that's crazy,
left,
bro.
So it wasn't me.
That shit's crazy. All right, but you know, this team, my team that I have first entering the sweepstakes is the Utah Jazz. I think when you look at what they moved, the amount of draft picks they got back, the fact that they can still even go further, they traded away Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert in the same offseason and still could get worse by whatever they do with Mike Conley, whatever they do with Clarkson. So this is a team that I think is going to be committed. They're going to be motivated. They've already shown what their hands is. And if they in the same offseason or in the same year, basically, that they trade away Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert and restart with Victor Wembanyama as well as some of the pieces they already got in the other trades, the Jazz may have pulled off the best and quickest rebuild in all time.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? How with the roster they have, they won't get it. To me. Now, it depends on when Colin Sexton comes back or if Colin Sexton comes back. But adding Colin Sexton to this roster, there's too much talent on this roster for them to be the worst team in the Western Conference. The Spurs will be below them. The OKC will be, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying it's great talent, right? I'm saying that they'll be like fifth from the bottom.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like you just.
But but I'm saying. I guess I'm basing mine off of. I don't think Utah's done getting rid of talent yet, though, by any means.
Now that's an entirely different thing, right? Like if all of a sudden they just flip and they like. I mean, but honestly, bro, like they going the young route here, bro. You got Sexton. Everybody believes THT is going to become this great player. I don't know.
I don't see it for THT.
I haven't seen it. I thought it was going to be there, but I haven't seen it. Everybody's like, he's in LeBron's shadow, and I was like, he's 6'4". Like everybody's in LeBron's shadow at that height. But I mean, Malik Beasley, they got. Remember, here's the thing, right? Too, they got a couple of players that me and you were high on making impacts their first season in the NBA, and Ochai Agbaji and Walker Kessler.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that they will. But I think there might just be a little bit too much talent on them to be the worst. Now, if they continue to get rid of, right, like if all of a sudden they like, I'm going to trade Mike Conley, I'm going to trade Jordan Clarkson, I'm going to trade Colin Sexton, I think that makes it a little bit different.
They're not trading Colin Sexton. And I think you are super high on Colin Sexton. This is one thing I've noticed from us doing Locked On Bull. You are way higher on Colin Sexton than I am. I can tell by the way you talk about him.
No, not at all. I said Colin Sexton's Donovan Mitchell. Just a year behind.
But even you saying that they have Colin Sexton on this team, they have too much talent on this roster. Okay.
Well, I think the thing that I can see is, right, Colin Sexton is going to be able to go out there and score the ball, and Larry Markkinen is going to be out there and able to score the ball.
Another Bulls legend, by the way.
Another Bulls legend. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've got guys out there. My thing is, right, I'm not super high on Colin Sexton. Like, he's going to be their franchise player moving forward, although they probably believe that. But I think the thing for me with Colin Sexton is I could see him getting to Donovan Mitchell's heights, and guess what? That's the playoffs.
Good point there. That's a good point.
So you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like, to me, literally, you traded Donovan Mitchell for a year younger version of Donovan Mitchell.
Not exact. It's not one for one, but you're talking the offense. There's still a lot of Donovan Mitchell's game that I think Colin Sexton has more of per se, but I don't know how much more it'll impact. He's definitely more willing passer. He's
a more willing passer, and I think that'll help him a lot, especially when you got the shooting percentages that they have.
Yeah. We'll see. All right, what's next up on your bottom tier teams?
I mean, we got to talk about the Spurs because they're not even trying to.
Oh yeah, I mean, they listen. If you can get a tamper in charge for tanking, they would have got it. They would have got it.
I thought you could. I thought legit. Wasn't there something where they were like, you're sitting your players on purpose to lose?
Well, yeah, you can only sit players, like healthy players, a certain amount or whatever, but there's still not anything as far as like actively tanking by basically saying, hey, if you're good, we got to get rid of you. We got to get rid of you.
But I mean, I'm just saying how Pop is talking, bro. Pop, like, I'm here for this check, and I'm here to see us get Wembanyama at the end of the season. That's exactly my goal. They might, bro, legit. With the mindset that they have and just how they're moving, I don't know if they trade away more talent, but you might have to just to be one of the worst teams in basketball or be the worst team in the Western Conference. But 100%, bro, like they're not even like they might lose the most games. What's the most losses in an NBA season ever?
I have no idea.
They might break it this year just based on the mindset of Pop. Like, it feels like he's just like, nah, bro, like, forget it. We're not winning a game. I don't want to win another game.
That's crazy.
Like, so I think
The
just the
Charlotte Bobcats have the worst record in NBA in NBA history in 2012, going 7-59.
Okay, I take it back. They're not gonna beat that.
Yeah, they're not gonna beat that, bro.
Hey,
There've only been 2 teams to ever finish in the NBA with less than double digit victories. That's
is
the
that
Charlotte
where?
Bobcats and the 1973 Philadelphia 76ers.
How much they win?
9. They went 9-73.
Okay, see, I think that's more applicable because, well, this is the reason. You didn't say enough games with the Bobcats, so that had to be the lockout season.
It had to be, yeah.
Because you said 59-7 and
and
or
7.
7-59. I'm like,
Yeah.
that math ain't mathing right there. Bro, they might win. If you're focused on losing, Pop might win 9 games.
That's crazy, man.
He might try to go for 7 just to say I was the best at losing.
I was the best at winning and the best at losing.
Loser ever in the NBA.
I set records on my way out.
Pop would do it just for the story.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I love Pop.
Pop is man. Pop is a great coach. Great person as well. All right. My last tier teams though. Bro, the last one is the Rockets, but I still look at the Rockets' talent, saying, "Hey, it's not that bad." But I think that they're going to be less incentivized. They have a lot of talent on the roster, but they have no number ones. Nobody that yet they can look at and say this is a star you could build your team around. So I think they're going to be another team that's a threat to start tanking early. What about you, Pat?
I think they have too many young players that need to develop for them to take that route to me. Because you've only got young players left. They have too many. Like if you tank or you're basically saying we don't believe in none of you guys that are here, so we're gonna go get this guy.
I think that's something that we think because, and even though they got too many young people, you can always sign. There's always going to be a veteran that, guess what, if your team's young, that you can always overpay when you're ready to bring in some veteran leadership. I just don't see a team like the Houston, just because they said, yeah, we got a lot of young players. They still need that one, though. They need that one to build around, and I don't think they're going to stop until they get that.
But you look at their roster, right? Like you got young players that you're trying to turn into. Now, I don't know if they're not tall enough to be Wembanyama, but I mean, you got young players on that team that you drafted with the mindset that, hey, this guy can be a number one on our team. Jalen Green, Porter Jr., I don't know what he is. Didn't he just get an extension today too? 4-year extension, but like all his money's in one, you dig? So
all his guaranteed money's in 1 year, but it's still not.
Money.
It's just up front, but he still has guarantees, and they have to kick in. I think they kick in on the 30th of June every year. So basically, he's good.
Really, I guess really just Jalen Green, right? Like I guess if you're just trying to get him more help, I wouldn't be mad at them tanking, but don't you have to kind of like try to win to see him just cook mugs, or like I don't know. That's an interesting Houston. Well, looking at this roster, maybe Sengun is nice though.
Sengun is nice.
Sengun was getting freaky last year.
Is that what we're saying here?
Can he play the 4?
Yeah, he can play the 4. Sengun can play the 4.
Okay,
I think he played the 4.
And Jabari Smith Jr. They got Ty White. They got a lot of young players on this. Bro, this team's so young, bro. They do got Boban. I forgot about that.
Oh shit! Yeah, they do.
They got Boban, bro. They can't lose with Boban on the team, man.
Yeah, except all his teams lose.
He just came off of a Western Conference Finals team.
Don't matter.
They did lose in the Western Conference Finals, but
exactly. That's funny.
My final team, though.
Okay.
I would have to say, I mean, it's got to be OKC, right? It's got to be OKC. Like they can't be trying to win this season. There's no way.
How long has SGA been in the league? It feels
like 7 years, bro. 7, 8 years.
It has not been that long for SGA, bro. I think you're tripping.
SGA was on another team, wasn't he?
I mean, he was only on that team his rookie season. He got traded. Yeah, he got traded in his rookie season though, or the season after. Yeah, it was. Yeah, he can't. That's not year 7, bro.
SGA is 24. That's at least year 6 if he came out at 18, maybe 19.
He's going into year 5.
Hey, bro, that's a long time.
That's crazy.
Hey, is he what we think he is or not?
I mean, he's increased every one of those years, so I think yes.
I like
Yes.
SGA. I mess with
I
SGA.
like SGA. I just want to see SGA on a good team, bro.
Me too.
Like seriously, I just like,
hey,
and his efficiency is through the roof as well. So,
and I don't think this team is that. By the way, SGA making 30 mil.
oh well, let's stop feeling sorry for SGA.
Hey, look, hey, you're doing fine, brother. Enjoy OKC. Yeah, I don't know about this team at all, bro. I mean, Chet's hurt. When's he gonna be back? Is he gonna be back this season? I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never been a huge believer in Chet. Chet is 7'1", 195 pounds. He weighs less than Derrick Jones Jr.
And Dalen Terry.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got Giddey. I like Giddey, but like I also think, right, like there's I like Giddey's game. I really do. But the hype around Giddey, like he's this triple-double machine, like he's Lonzo Ball. Like, bro, I just be looking, I'd be like, how many triple-doubles did he actually get last year? It's like 4. Like, so why are we losing our minds on this mug, bro? Like, I like Giddey, though. But yeah, this team is not good, bro. This team is probably I mean, bro, like, it literally goes I don't even know half of these mugs. I'm not gonna lie to you. Aaron Wiggins is on the team. Shout out to him getting a stint in the NBA again. But it's Shea, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Chet.
Marquise Chris is on the. That man.
I mean, how you feeling about an Isaiah Joe?
No, thank you.
No, okay. Trey Man, nice.
Trey Man, cool.
Man is cool. This team gonna lose a lot of games, bro.
They got both Jalen Williams on their teams. I like both.
A lot of Williams on their team, bro.
That's crazy. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see.
Calling their game is gonna be a nightmare this year. They got Jalen Williams,
Williams,
and Kenrich Williams.
Oh yeah, have fun with that one. That's why I don't live call games.
And they all different: 6'6", 6'9", 6'7". So all 3 could be on the floor at the same time. Williams to Williams, Williams back to Williams, Williams up to Williams, Williams in the paint to Williams.
Moving on before we end the show, bro. So, what do you think is going to be the record to be the top team in the Western Conference this season?
I think you're going to see it take a little bit of a step back because what did Phoenix have last year? Like 66 wins or something like that. Like it was crazy.
Is that what it took to win the West last season?
Well, they were also up in the West by like 20 games. It was like Phoenix and then the rest of us.
Phoenix was number 1 with 64 wins last season. Crazy.
And who was in second?
Memphis with 56.
That's what I'm talking about.
The number 1 seed in the East, 53 wins.
Right. You know what I mean? So, like, I think to win the West, you're talking probably talking 60 games, even maybe 62. Maybe 62 games this year. I don't think it's going to be like a massive drop off, but I also think it's going to be a little bit closer. Okay. This year, I don't think it's going to be as spread out as it was last season. I think you'll see a couple of teams, right? I think this will be a season, not to say it'll be the same, but like when Golden State won 73 games, I think there was like 3 teams in the West that were all above 60 wins, and then you got like 59, 54. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think it'll be a season like that in the Western Conference because I think there's a lot more even teams at the top, right? Like, I mean, Phoenix came out on fire last season and just kept it going while Golden State was kind of trying to navigate through some injuries and get themselves together. Memphis was figuring out what they were as a young team and what Ja could really turn into, right? So, like, I think now coming into the second year of this, Denver's got a 2-time MVP with a lot of help this year. You've got Golden State coming back, running it back, and now Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins have championship experience, right? So, like, I think there's just a lot more teams that make this thing even out. And I don't know if Phoenix is just done. Like, everybody's like, Phoenix is done. I think they're just going to be a lot closer in the standings this year, so we won't be as impressed as we were last year.
That's fair. I agree with all that. It's gonna be wild in the West as it always is. I can't wait to see who ascends. Yeah, what team steps up, which one doesn't. But that's it, Pat. Go ahead and give me your social media, man. Let's get up out of here.
Hey man, follow me on everything at Pat the Designer, man. I'm always tweeting, talking about Bulls, Bears, all that stuff. My life's pretty depressing. But yeah, follow me on all social media platforms at Pat the Designer.
All right, you guys can follow me at CEO Haize. That is it. We out this mug.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.